IPMNation.com.
Hello everybody, welcome to Local Outbreak on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt from Local Outbreak, and we are, of course, at the studio, as we are every week, at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia. The StudioNH.com is the website if you want to check it out online. Funky little gift shop and art gallery, and a lot of cool stuff here, and it's definitely had a bit of a makeover lately, so come check it out. Of course, I always say, please support your local businesses as well as local music. Very, very important. And, of course, we're also sponsored by Central NH Events. If you need a DJ for your event, you can go to centralnhevents.com. Tim Martin does a great job. And, of course, Tweak Sound and Mastering in Concord. Matt Marcil is a great person to see if you need some audio engineering, some production, mastering, etc. And, of course, we're sponsored by Sonic Wallpaper, who help provide music lessons for those who maybe couldn't otherwise afford them. Very cool organization. Very happy to have them as a sponsor. And they actually just recently moved to Laconia from Franklin, so a little more centrally located for some of you. And we have with us tonight three of the guys from the Bearded Sinners Beard Club of New Hampshire. How are you guys?
Great. Good. Thanks a lot.
Let's start on this end with you, sir. Why don't you each introduce yourselves?
My name's Big Chad.
Nick.
Beefcake.
How did you get the name Beefcake, sir?
So I go to the gym 5-6 days a week, and one of the guys from another chapter had put up one of the Eric Cartman memes and was just started calling me Beefcake, and I kind of ran with it. And now that we have two Chads in the chapter, it kind of like it.
It stuck.
Yeah. So, a little unconventional this week. You guys are not a band, but sometimes we have non-musical guests on the show who are doing interesting things in the area. And why don't you tell us what exactly is the Bearded Sinners, and why is it called that? Aside from the obvious, and of course it's radio, everyone can't see, but you all have beards, impressive beards.
Thank you.
So basically, what our purpose is like we support local everything, bands, artists, radio stations, restaurants.
Yeah.
We try to get out in the community. We try to help out those who need help. One of the biggest things that we help out with is an organization called N68 Hours of Hunger. Mm-hmm. We try to help them raise food and awareness for kids who don't have food when they go home from school on the weekends.
Yeah.
We help out at any event that somebody might need, like the Rochester Blues Festival. We were at that. We helped out at, and we helped out at the Summer Brew Fest down at Arms Park, just as volunteers. People come to us and say, "Hey, we need volunteers," and we say, "Yeah, we'll help out."
That's really cool.
Especially if it's for a good cause.
That's very cool. Well, we're gonna take a break and play some music, and then we'll come back. And I wanted to really chat with you guys in depth about how you all came to be involved in this and what motivates you to do it, and because you're doing a lot of good stuff. When I was interviewing these guys and we were talking about local artists that they work with or that they have a good relationship with, one of them, the guys are friends with, is Luke Diamond, who was on the show not too long ago, so we're going to play a song of his now. Great local artist, and he's had a lot of success with this track, Birthday, so take a listen, and then we'll be right back with the Bearded Sinners.
Flowers to put on your shelf. They're not as pretty as you, but I hope to God they'll help. Put a smile on your face, the one that lights up my world. Solid proof that you are the most beautiful girl. So I'm gonna hold on to what keeps me warm, and baby, that is you. Please know that I wrote this song for your birthday, but just so you know, it doesn't have to be your birthday for me to love you. No. Sends me to a warm, calm place, destined spend my life gazing into that pretty face. I'll sit here and wonder if you're feeling the same. Warmth in your heart and the calm in your brain. So I'm gonna hold on to what keeps me warm, and baby, that is you. Please know that I wrote this song for your birthday, but just so you know, it doesn't have to be your birthday for me. So I'm gonna hold on to what keeps me warm, and baby, that is you. Please know that I wrote this song for your birthday, but just so you know, it doesn't have to be your birthday for me to love you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Local Outbreak here on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. I'm Matt Connarton, and we are here tonight with Big Chad, Nick, and Beefcake from the Bearded Sinners Beard Club of New Hampshire. And how many guys are members of this total? What's your membership?
We have, as of now, we have 4 members, and we have 2 prospects.
Okay.
And prospect is pretty much a member, except we ask our quote-unquote prospects to really show us what they're worth and show us they're committed to our cause before we take them on as an actual member.
Yeah.
It's about a 3-month process. We require them to come to 3 meetings or 3 events or any combination of the 2.
Yeah.
And they pay half dues from a member's dues, and at the end of that prospect period, we have a vote and decide whether we'll take them on as a full member. And pretty much most of them, the guys we've had, we've ended up taking on as a full member. Guys like the idea. We've had a lot of guys that have done a lot of charity work or social work in the past, or maybe have tried to make up for something they've done wrong and they want to do some good.
Yeah.
And, we've all found a common ground besides the beard and the fact that we all, love helping out, and we all love New Hampshire, and that's what we do. Is our big thing is keeping New Hampshire, and supporting everything we can in the state, helping out our neighbors in need. We're big into supporting, like Beefcake said, supporting any local charity that needs us, helping to feed hungry kids.
Yeah.
Changing a flat tire for someone on the side of the road, buying a vet a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. Anything we can do to help our citizens and our neighbors in New Hampshire is what we're about.
That's really cool. And how long has this existed in New Hampshire? Because this is actually a national thing, right? I mean, it's not just New Hampshire, but there's chapters all over the country. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have 17 chapters worldwide. Actually, we have 15 chapters in the United States, in 13 states.
Okay,
and we have a chapter in Australia, and a chapter in Great Britain, which has newly reorganized. We're probably holding around 180 strong worldwide now for members.
Wow.
And those numbers are usually rough from day to day because just actually a couple days ago, North Carolina was inducted as an actual chapter. They do go through a rigorous process of proving that they want to be part of the Sinners, and they've been around for a little bit. We've known about some of the guys, we've seen them, but officially, I think about 4 days ago, they became a chapter, and there's always stuff in the works for other places that a lot of us don't even know about. There's chapters that pop up, and then when they do, we offer like our support, our advice. We welcome into the club, and it's a brotherhood that we've formed a bond. Like, even though we have guys across the country that we've never met in person, you can talk to them like you've known each other your whole life.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So
Right.
Where did it start? Do you guys know where the first chapter began?
It actually started about 4 years ago, out of California on Facebook, kind of as a Facebook thing, and then it migrated into guys meeting up and hanging out, and the current national president, Rob Davidson, took it over about.
I think it was about 3 years ago.
And
it was shortly after it had started out in California, and the original guy who had started it, I can't remember his name, he didn't really do anything with the name or with the club, and just kind of ended up taking off. And that's when Rob took a hold of it, and he was going through a tough time in life, and he kind of was like, "Hey, I want to do something good." And he took hold of the reins, and this is what he did.
I'll bet the guys who started it in California probably never imadgined, it would grow the way it has.
I don't think so. I actually am not sure about the answer to that question, whether many of the original members from California are even around. I think one of them is, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I do know that the Georgia chapter, which we call our mother chapter, they're upwards. They're over 20 guys in that chapter, and they do a lot of good. They work with a big shelter down there called Seven Bridges, and they do a lot of things for kids and women in need.
Yeah.
They do tour drives, coat drives, food drives, and they work with they do a lot of work with local bands. They do a lot of work with like the rockabilly and the hot rod and the motorcycle community down there. So they're just south of Atlanta. They're in a suburb of Atlanta. Most of them around the Austell area, and they're huge down there. If you walk in that area and you're wearing a red and black shirt, people know who you are. They know you're a Bearded Sinner.
Yeah. Oh,
and
wow.
Pretty much the goal nationwide is to make the Bearded Sinners a household name and to portray us. We're big, burly, tattooed, ugly, beer-drinking, swearing, cussing, bearded guys. Kind of portray us in a good light.
Yeah.
You had mentioned how it started in New Hampshire, and actually I had the idea back in December, right around Christmas time. I saw on Instagram the Bearded Sinners of California page, and I messaged them and asked them what they were about and how to get involved, and they directed me to the national president, Rob, who gave me the basic lowdown. And the basic at the time was you need 5 guys who are interested to start a chapter, and do a couple events, meet up, and see how you mesh, and talk to us about it. And if we approve of you starting something, if you guys have a good vision and you seem like you're in a good place to be in this club, we'll let you start a chapter. And it took me until the end of January to come up with 5 solid guys to charter the chapter. And then Chad Beefcake is one of the original members, and it's just been a snowball effect since. We've been growing. We've been getting more and more exposure on Facebook and in the media and radio stations since then. We're almost at 1,000 likes on Facebook. That's kind of our main thing. We don't have a website. None of the chapters really have any internet presence besides social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But Facebook's where we do all of our communication with other chapters too. We have chat rooms we talk in, and private areas we go to send messages back and forth. And we really rely on our brothers in other states to help us come up with ideas for how to give back. And like Beefcake said, it's truly a brotherhood in the respect that I know that there may be someone having a hard time, and I can give them a phone call and lift them up if they need it, and they'll do the same for me.
That's very cool.
So BC and I actually got to meet 4 of our brothers from Ohio a couple weeks back. So I think out of everything that our chapter and maybe even the entire club organization has done, that is like the biggest thing is so about 4 weeks ago, I think it was 3 weeks ago, BC and I, we took a 8-hour trip down to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We drove down there and we met up with Matt Beal, Dan Beal, Sean English, and Billy Breaker from Ohio. And our purpose for that trip was we now have a member down in Pennsylvania that we gave him a certificate of honorary membership and a bunch of T-shirts and koozies, and like we made him feel welcome into our brotherhood.
Yeah.
His name is Ben Levitt, and Ben used to have a beard like all of us. Unfortunately, he's going through cancer.
Oh, wow.
So he's dealing with going through chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So he lost his beard. And what started off as just a simple video that he posted on Facebook, just saying, "Hey, some people might think this is silly, but I like beards. Like, show me your beard." So he was like kind of down and out, and he when we were talking to him, he thought he was only gonna get 500 likes or 500 friends out of it.
Yeah.
And now he's got, and not only does he have 4,500 people that send him photos and that are a part of his page. But, I asked him while I was down there, I'm like, "How many brothers do you have?" And he's like, 2. And I said, "Well, now you have over 160 of them."
Yeah.
Because he's part of our family.
That's
and
really cool.
that's kind of like, we welcome anybody who really wants to be a part of us. And, everybody's out. There's still people out there that try to do good.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as Ben Levitt goes, I'd like to invite anybody out there listening to go on Facebook and search Ben Levitt's Beard Cancer Challenge. And also, any bearded guys who are listening that want to support another bearded guy, you can hashtag photos of yourself with Beards for Ben, is the hashtag, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah. And we've definitely... we took him in as a member, and I'm proud to have talked to him a few times, and I know these guys had a very emotional experience meeting him, and it was knowing that New Hampshire was able to send 2 of our guys down to meet them. It meant a lot to us. Mm-hmm. And there's also a video you could see online on our Facebook page that we can get to the link later, but a video of them meeting Ben and presenting to him merchandise and memorabilia from all the chapters nationwide. And it was very well received by his family and by himself. He was totally shocked and surprised we were coming.
Yeah.
One of our members, Zach Powers, our treasurer, he actually took the initiative to begin the process of arranging all this and talking with Ben's brother Xander and Ben's mother Anna, and then guys from Ohio, Matt, Billy, Dan, and Sean. And our guys, Beefcake and Big Chad, they really took the reins, and they started really coming up with a good plan to get together and try to meet up in Philadelphia on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Big Chad's got a family at home, wife and kids, and thankfully his wife and kids were nice enough to allow us to steal him for the weekend and send him down there. They got to go. They toured Pennsylvania, did the Liberty Bell, had lunch with a couple other members from Ohio, and then they got to spend time with Ben, which is the most important part. And that's all we can do, is just try to go out there. And if we can't change something for somebody and we can support them, that's what we do. I mean, we do more than, a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. Whether it's give 1 can of food to a food pantry, or whether it's raise $10,000 for a local charity, or go help a family who lost their house to a fire, go down there and swing a hammer for a few hours trying to rebuild their house. Yeah. Anything at all we can do. And like Beefcake said, the Ben Levitt thing was huge, and it was an amazing experience for anybody to be a part of it. And even for myself, I had the huge honor of mailing one of our T-shirts down to him, and I got the chance to talk with Ben's brother, and just the feedback we got from the family was worth it, just to know that they appreciated us giving a damn, which is,
Right.
by the way, that's our national motto, is we give a damn,
Yeah.
for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, that's really cool because we live in a world where it's so easy to be cynical, and you guys are out there doing good and showing that there are people who do good, and I think that's really cool, and that's why I think it was Josh who got in touch with me initially.
Fishwick, yeah.
Yeah, Josh Fishwick, and then because I didn't know about you guys, and then when when he got reached out to me, and then I looked into what you guys do, and I was like, well, that's cool. I really want to talk to these guys. So
Yeah, so I actually sat down with Fishwick this past weekend, and he wanted to come and start talking and find out how to become a prospect, and so he kind of mentioned that he did a little bit of work with, I think it was like the MCTV and a couple other things, and then that's when he had happened to reach out to you a couple days later.
yeah.
And I was like, cool. So
Yeah,
he really hooked us up.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. Well, let's. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit more with the Bearded Sinners Beard Club of New Hampshire. Big Chad from the Bearded Sinners was talking about being good friends with Matt Beaupre and his band Yeehaw Jihad, who were recently on Local Outbreak. They came in and played an acoustic set for us, but since Big Chad's a big fan, we will play something electric from the band Yeehaw Jihad, and this is called Mr. Good Enough here on Local Outbreak, and then we'll come back and chat some more with the Bearded Sinners.
I'm covered with bruises as my venom it oozes. You have no list of uses, you have only excuses. Delegate all your burdens, procrastinate on your errands. I tolerate your inaction, accommodate your distraction. Fine job, Mr. Good Enough. 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 Pass the buck on the other as you grab for another. Inconvenience your brother as you cry to your mother. Arrogant liar, another gold brick for hire. Finish under the wire. Why don't you light up a fire? Fine job, Mr. Good Enough. 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 Casual with your intrusion, putting forth an illusion. It's a foregone conclusion that you have some confusion. I know you think that you're clever with your half-assed endeavor. I see no proof that you ever exert yourself whatsoever. Fine job, Mr. Good enough. Fine
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation. And this is Matt from IPM Nation sitting here at the studio in downtown Laconia. We've got Big Chad, Nick, and Beefcake from three of the guys from the Bearded Sinners Beard Club of New Hampshire. And Beefcake was saying during the break, so you guys have another saying in addition to We Give a Damn.
Yeah, so it's BTFU, beard the fuck up.
Okay. How does someone do that? Beard up.
So it's kind of like another version of somebody says man up.
Yeah.
You know, to us, it really takes a lot more to be a bearded man. Like, anybody can go out and kind of like, all right, I bought a Shamrock at Lowe's for $5, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're there. But when you BTFU, like, you really put your heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
You get out there and you do it day in and day out. You know, it's not just a one-time thing because the clerk at a store said, hey, you know, do you want to donate $1? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
BTFU for us is a lifestyle. And you see a lot of this on social media. The bearding has become a trend, and we all know that. And it's become a huge trend, and you know, I'm all for anybody who wants to have facial hair. But there are two things that, you know, I personally I see on social media and on the internet is the term brother and the term BTFU, beard the fuck up. It's used loosely for people to communicate about their beards, and they can have their own meaning to it and their own definition and feel the way they want to feel about it. But when you actually say BTFU or you do a BTFU, it means a lot. And for us bearded sinners, I think we use that term more than anybody else in any beard community in the world.
Yeah.
And when we use that term as a term of endearment for our brothers. I know, like, if Big Chad went out and did something, I'd say, way to BTFU.
Right.
Way to beard the fuck out. Way to show you're a real man.
Yeah.
Because a real man, in our definition, a real man goes out and does something for somebody. We give a damn.
Yeah.
And knowingly going out of your way to do something for somebody else. Just letting it fall in your lap. You know?
Right. Taking that initiative and doing it, yeah.
As you know, BC actually was just officially voted in Sunday as a full-fledged member.
Congratulations to Big Chad. That's awesome.
So with his trip down to Philadelphia with me, it was him as a prospect, and that was a big BTFU on his part.
Yeah.
And that whole course of the trip, he actually got votes from 3 of the national officers, the vice president, the treasurer, and I can never remember Billy's
as a national secretary.
Wow.
And I got, me being the president, I got threats saying, if you don't vote him in, we're voting you out. I knew from the minute when I first met Big Chad. I know Beefcake and Big Chad met and talked once before we actually met him at a public meeting, and I met him, and we had very limited conversation because we were busy meeting other people who wanted to be prospects. And I knew just from that one meeting, how we talked, he wanted to be with us. And he said right away, he asked me what he could do. He asked me personally, he said, there's something I can do to help with anything you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Can I come to an event? And when someone shows dedication to our cause and takes the initiative to even make a personal phone call one night just to say hi, and takes the initiative to get to know you and give you some information about themselves and their family, it shows a lot. It shows a lot of character.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think all 3 of us officers got a phone call on Monday from BC after we voted him in. He was, I love this guy to death, and he called me to say, I want to personally thank you for making me a member, and he doesn't have to thank me at all for anything.
Pretty sure I didn't get that phone call.
Well, you guys are neighbors pretty much. I live down across the state from him. And
BC's a really good guy, and we're happy to have him. And he's definitely put work in since day one.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I love about this club is, like, I'm not going to say, like, I do a lot more than everybody else, but I have the ability to do a lot more because I don't have a wife and kids that live with me.
Yeah.
I'm a single guy, so I I will host a couple extra meetings per month. I'll go down and get lunch somewhere, and I'll throw it out and say, hey, anybody who's interested, come on down and check it out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how BC came along, and he just came down and for a meeting, and we talked a little bit, and then I try to get out there. One, it keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah.
and two, because I really enjoy helping people, and I just. Back in March, I helped at the Monadnock Up and Smoke Barbecue Festival, just as a volunteer, whatever they needed. Unfortunately, the day I went, it rained, so there wasn't a whole lot to do.
Yeah.
But the guy that put it on, he was really good, and hopefully he still comes up on, and visits sometime. And
Yeah.
We're in New Hampshire. We're everybody from New Hampshire knows New Hampshire's not a very big state, 70 miles wide, 190 miles tall. But we're rural, and we're all spread out.
Yeah.
Like we have 2 members and 2 prospects from the Queen City in the Nashua area, Merrimack, Bedford area. And there are 2 of us that are all by ourselves up in the White Mountains, up in Ossipee, just south of Conway.
Yeah.
And we all, once or twice a month, we'll have guys drive up to the mountains, or we'll drive down to Manchester, this area. We all make that commitment, and if this goes nationwide. We have guys that will drive 2, 3, 4 hours one way for a meeting. We have one member, Billy. I'm going to plug you, Billy, because I hope you to listen to this when it comes out on the internet. Billy Breaker is the national secretary. Is also a Nomad member. He lives in Ohio, and he's a member of the Ohio chapter. Once a month, he drives to Michigan from Ohio for a meeting, pays full dues. He prospected in one while he was a member of the other.
Yeah.
And he goes to and hosts events for both.
Wow.
And Billy, in my opinion, I think a lot of guys around the country, he's an inspiration. He's someone we all admire and hope to be with. Hope to be. Okay, so, well.
Yeah. Oh.
My wife doesn't know I said that, so let's just. It's a respect thing with beards,
Yeah.
No,
He's got a sexy beard, is what you're saying.
Oh, he does.
Funny thing is,
Short guy, but a good beard.
Yeah.
He's probably the smallest guy in our club. He wears a medium-sized shirt.
Yeah.
About 2/3 of the club probably double XL or bigger.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some big boys out there. But no, Billy is definitely like one of the biggest inspirations, and like Nick said, he's a nomad, and I have the ability. If there was another chapter to start up around, I would work my butt off just as hard as Billy does to be able to get that title, because it's not, we don't really do it for ourselves individually.
Yeah.
We do it to get the name of the Sinners out there, so that people know that there's still good people out there.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose. That's what my purpose of being in this club is.
Well, I haven't asked the really obvious question yet, because I didn't want to start the interview with the most obvious question, or one of the most obvious. What does the name mean? Obviously the bearded part, because you guys all have beards, but what does Bearded Sinners mean?
Well, let's think of it this way: is that I guess you could kind of point it in a couple of different directions. I guess if you want to point it in a biblical direction, so everybody's born a sinner.
That's how I took it, yeah.
And then you can go in the other direction, that we all cuss, spit, swear, smoke, drink, cause trouble, and we give back,
Yeah.
Everybody has done something in their life one time or another who someone considers a sin.
Right.
And really what it's about, me personally, I've done some things in my life I shouldn't have done, maybe in the past, and I've had some regrets, and I'm making up for it now, and anything I can do to make up for it. But this is, I've, chose the Bearded Sinner lifestyle.
Yeah.
And,
there are a lot of guys across country that, they've lived a rough life, and they woke up one day and they were like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, what am I doing with my life? I'm, one day I'm either not going to be here, or, I'm going to get locked up. And, to see like all the negative things that are happening in the world nowadays, it's like, you need more people like us to help out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One of the big things that we're hoping to get into is finding some way to work with some type of clinic or something on the heroin crisis.
Yeah.
For
yeah.
people who need it, try to
That's
find a way to help, and
huge issue
Yep.
right now. Huge.
Yeah, we in New Hampshire, we've had a couple ideas for even as simple as just a march against heroin, just to say that we don't want to stand for it. We don't want it in our communities and towns, and we've seen in the past year over there's been a few hundred overdoses and deaths, and it's grown exponentially, and it's
worse.
It is becoming the biggest problem nationwide. And New Hampshire's a small state, and that's a lot of people to lose in a small state.
Absolutely.
We want to stomp it out. We want to show that we don't want to stand for it. We don't want it around our kids in our communities. It's overworking our police officers, and it truly is. It's becoming an epidemic. It's the next zombie apocalypse as far as I'm concerned. And even just to put the word out there, to stomp out heroin, say that we don't want to stand for it, and get our fellow citizens maybe in a town square, just holding up signs, get a couple hundred people together, that are united in supporting that, and standing behind our state government and our law enforcement, to say we support what they do and we appreciate how hard they're working to get rid of this. There's not really much any one person can do besides help try to raise awareness.
Right. Exactly.
There's not that I know of. There's probably only a handful of charities around the country that are, trying to fund rehab and fund clinics and things. I would love to work with one in New Hampshire if we could, but I think the best thing we can do is just get out there and, show these dealers, get off our streets.
Right.
Stop feeding this trash to my neighbors and my kids and my, brothers and sisters and parents. Everybody I know has lost someone to an addiction, or has someone who's stuck in addiction in their family, or has been an addict to maybe not heroin, but any other number of hard drugs.
Absolutely.
And we want to support those people, and we want these people to have the ability and have the resources to recover and to get their lives back, because it takes over your life. And it's really sad to see people our age, and we're all in our mid-30s, and see kids that are in high school or just getting out of high school that are so hooked on it.
Not even high school, man. It's hitting the elementary schools in Manchester and shit now. It's awful. When you got 5th graders, 4th graders paying $5 for sexual favors just to buy their dope, it's goddamn ridiculous.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a demon. Well, let's we got to take one more break, and then we're going to come back and talk with these guys a little bit more here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation. Another band the guys from the Bearded Sinners mentioned they're really into is a band called the Gray Davies from the Seacoast area. So let's hear something from them. This is called Come On Over.
Then the sun goes far away, too little time to play. And then my bags were on the train when life was getting rough. Do you ever feel that you're not getting enough? I hope they will come on over, yeah. There's no other way, no. I hope she will be forever, yeah. I hope they will come on over, yeah. I was so uptight, watch my life go down the drain, turn sunshine into rain. And then she came into my life when I was giving up. Do you ever feel that you might be falling in love?
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt from IPM Nation, and we've been having a great conversation this week with the Bearded Sinners Beard Club of New Hampshire. Three of the guys from the Bearded Sinners, of course, Big Chad, who's the newest member. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
And, of course, we have Nick and Beefcake. And do you guys, I know you're out a lot with events and whatnot. Do you have anything coming up specific that you want to mention? Or
The next thing we have coming up is we're all going to be, most of us that can, we're going to be volunteering on Thanksgiving Day at New Horizons Shelter in Manchester to help feed Thanksgiving dinner.
Excellent.
Some of us are taking our wives and kids with us, and they're going to help out too.
Yeah.
And after that, who knows? We haven't really gone too far into the future with it. We've been so busy all summer that we're just now getting a chance to take a breath and kind of reorganize. And we're always doing small things. You'll see us in Rochester every other month, and the alternate month you'll see us in Manchester at Millie's Tavern having public meetings. And when we do that, we ask the public to help us donate food to End 68 Hours of Hunger. We'll put a post on Facebook saying we're going to be there, and ask people if they want to come down and bring a few food items. We'll take a big bucket of food to one of the offices across the state. And just a quick one on End 68 Hours of Hunger is they're a New Hampshire-based charity, and they're in almost every town in the state to help feed kids that are of elementary school age between Friday lunch and Monday breakfast at school, that 68-hour gap where they may not get enough food.
Interesting. See, I didn't even know about them.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
N68hoursofhunger.org, and you go to their website and you can probably find a link to one in your town.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic. That's
they
good to
also
know.
have, if somebody wanted to make a monetary donation, they have a link for that. And then they have also a list of what they look for in particular for food. It's easy stuff that kids themselves could make, like tuna, ramen noodles, mac and cheese, cereal, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nothing too elaborate. They try to look for stuff that's higher in calories.
Yeah.
It's not all the healthiest, but the main focus is just getting these kids food.
Growing brains need calories, and there are over 700 kids in the Grant State on this program. 700 kids.
No kidding.
So that's a good chunk of boys and girls who are going hungry.
So like you said, we're a small state, so yeah, that's
we are.
It kind of sucks we didn't get to have this this little interview a little bit sooner, because we just had our big benefit of the year, the Summer Beard Bash at Millie's Tavern, which is to like everything that is raised from the door charge, the
T-shirt
beard
sales.
competition, T-shirt sales, like everything that we raise, the raffle money, all is going to End 68 Hours of Hunger.
That's excellent. Good.
So
good. That's very good.
we're hoping to make that an annual event.
Yeah. Awesome. And where's the best place to go online to keep up with what you guys are doing?
You can check us out on Facebook, www.facebook.com/beardedsinnersnh. We do most of our outreach on there to the community. We also have an Instagram. You can find us on Instagram under the name Bearded Sinners of NH, and that's where we go. I mean, if there are any guys out there looking to become members, feel free to go to our Facebook, or we have an email, bsbcnh@gmail.com. We're always looking to have new guys come work with us and become members, become brothers. And also the guys, if you've got a girlfriend who wants to help out, there are a separate group that are also they're in 3 or 4 states now, and they're growing rapidly. They're the Lady Sinners. And you can find them on Facebook too, Lady Sinners New Hampshire. You can Google them; they're all over the country as well, and they're pretty much a bunch of badass women who do the same thing. Only they're a lot prettier.
Yeah,
and they don't have beards
and no beards. Yeah, that's excellent. Well, Nick, Beefcake, Big Chad, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So kind of an unconventional show this week, but really glad I was able to talk to those guys, the Bearded Sinners Beard Club of New Hampshire, and all the great work that they're doing for the community. So we're going to end the show in kind of unconventional fashion. I don't think we've ever done this before on Local Outbreak, but we're actually going to give you a preview of what's coming up next week on the show, because next week my guest is Angry Octopus, and they have this fantastic EP out called Selfish, another great local band, and I'm going to play for you the single. I think this is a great tune, so I'm excited to kind of play it a week early here on the show. This is called Your Ways from Angry Octopus here on Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet.
Nothing's gonna change today.
IPMNation.com.